All right, now to this developing story out of Africa. A U.S. aircraft in South Sudan came under heavy gunfire this morning during a mission to evacuate American civilians. 4 service members are injured. The country has been in turmoil since the president accused the former vice president of attempting a coup last week, and a lot of people have been killed in the clashes since then. Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr joins me now from Washington. So, Barbara, this was this like an attempted evacuation, not necessarily a rescue mission, but just to lift many of these Americans out of this kind of hard-to-get place in Sudan?
That's right, Fred. About 30 Americans or so are in this town of Bor in southern Sudan. We're told mainly working for the United Nations. Here's what happened. 3 U.S. military aircraft were trying to land at the airfield, and they were going to evacuate these Americans. There's no other way for them to get out of this area right now because of the violence, because of the ongoing war that has erupted in this region. So they start to approach the airfield. They are flying low and slow on that final approach, and they come under fire. 3 V-22 aircraft flown by U.S. troops took gunfire. One of the aircraft, we are told, was seriously damaged, possibly with a fuel leak. 4 U.S. troops wounded by this gunfire from the ground. Thankfully, all 3 aircraft made it back to Uganda. The wounded were flown on to Kenya, where they are getting medical care. But make no mistake, this is a very serious situation because those Americans that they were trying to get out of there, they are still there. So the military now reassessing, we are told, how to go back in there, how to evacuate these American citizens out of this region. The feeling is that the American aircraft were definitely targeted, mainly perhaps by the rebel forces in the region. This is a town that just fell to the rebels a day or so ago. So this is a very tense situation.
Indeed it is. All right, Barbara Starr, thanks so much. Let's find out more about how this is shaping up on the ground there in Sudan. In fact, Secretary of State John Kerry is sending a special envoy to South Sudan. Let's find out if that will make a difference in any way. Nema Albaghir from Khartoum, Sudan right now. So what is next, realistically?
Well, as you said, it's not being called a rescue mission yet, but that doesn't belie in any way the seriousness of this situation. You have Bor now in rebel hands, a second town slightly further south from there, thwarted, also falling to the rebels. And this isn't one unified rebel faction. This is a number of different groupings that seem to be taking the opportunity that's been posed by the recent disarray in the past few days. The concern has always been with South Sudan is, was there enough infrastructure, were there enough institutions for this state to stand independent of North Sudan? And the U.S. at the time believed very much, yes, there were some very definite champions. Susan Rice, former U.S. ambassador to the UN, was one of them, and she put out a very emotional message on Friday. She is someone who has been very much at the forefront of the U.S.'s very close relationship with South Sudan. This is a relationship that has spanned the entire 21-year civil war between North and South. She's calling for the South Sudanese, Fred, to choose peace. She says that they have their independence. They should try and keep their country together. But at the moment, no one is particularly hopeful. We don't even really have a sense of how many people have died on the ground. Even aid agencies don't really know. The UN say they believe it could be between 500 and 600 people. This is a very, very tense situation. And the attempted evacuations, aid workers fleeing, that's not going to help the situation for the civilians on the ground.